All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Briones Pickleball Podcast. Merry Christmas again if you didn't see our last episode. Happy New Year. We are in 2024. And actually, we're filming this a couple days before the 24th. Not the 24th, but before 2024. But yeah, welcome back, everybody. This year is going to be a great year, hopefully, for your pickleball game, just your lives in general. Today, we have a super special guest that you may or may not know, maybe not know, Stephen Lee, or Steve Lee, from Chicago.
Thanks, Jordan, for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Hold
on. Let me get this a little applause going here. There we go. All right. So, Steve, how you doing, man?
Doing great, Jordan. Doing great. Yeah.
All right. Why are we here? Why are we here tonight? We have. Go ahead. Why don't you explain to the audience, how we got together here?
Yeah. So, I just took Jordan's 2-day intensive. It was a private intensive, a one-on-one intensive, so very intense.
Oh, okay. So inaugural.
Inaugural.
Is that the right word?
Yes.
Right? First time.
Yeah.
So those of you listening, you might know that I offer these 2-day intensives, right? 4-to-1 ratio. So those are. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but those have been great. But for the first time ever, with Mr. Steve Lee here, we have we did our very first a one-on-one intensive, and it was a great experience. This last 2 days have been pretty long for both of us, but man, I appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
From Chicago.
From Chicago, it was great. I think the journey to get here, I found Jordan through YouTube, like many of you, and I've been following the channel, listening to the podcast. It's been great, Jordan, the content that you provide. And I think you have a gift of teaching for sure.
Thanks,
and I saw it firsthand in person. Yeah. And thank you so much for the last 2 days, honestly.
Hey, man, it was great. Yeah. It was awesome. We got to share a lot of meals together. Obviously spend a ton of time on the court, and got to know you on a lot more personal level too.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. So for those of you listening, if you are interested in doing something one-on-one like this, just send us an email, brionespickleball@gmail.com, or leave a comment below. We'll have a link below or something like that. But Steve, what was now when I do these intensives, I meet with each person, and I do a Zoom call to kind of get to know them, what they want to work on, and stuff like that. But what do you think is you came in with the knowledge of your game,
right?
Because like one of the things that I do when not auditing, I'm thinking auditing because you're a tax guy. No. One of the things that I ask for is video. When someone is applying to do something like this with me, and then so they also can see themselves, and also so I can kind of assess their game beforehand. But what is maybe one of the or several things that you came in not knowing about your own game that was really eye-opening to you in this, just from these past 2 days?
Yeah. So coming in, I think the one really big eye-opening thing was, and I have several here, right? But one is footwork. Thinking that, and what I mean by that is coming into the intensive thinking that, hey, I'm in an athletic stance. My footwork is good, right? Or I'm ready to explode left, right, laterally, or whatever. But, and even in the footage that I took, I was thinking my stance was wide enough. But after going through the intensive and you actually having a really good eye, you're saying you got to go wider, right, on that stance. That was really big. And then also just being aware of the status of a point. Where am I in a point, right? Am I on defense, neutral, or offense.
Yeah.
And that dictates so much, in shot selection, things like that. So I think coming in, I thought I had that somewhat down, not, but it was very eye opening when you start to, what do you call that? Like, I guess open my eyes, saying that, some of these things you have to, improve on, right? So yeah.
Sure, man. That's great. Now we worked on obviously a ton, right? I have a whole bunch of notes for you, videos, obviously, that I'm going to break down for you after. But what is one or two new things or new shots or something that you're going to start to develop, or something that's really exciting for you coming in? Because one of the things I know that we talked about before, and by the way, for the listeners out there, Steve is around 4 or 5 level for anyone, those of you listening, because all these intensives that I do are like different levels, right? And it's really cool, especially, I have a blast and a lot of fun at lower levels, for sure. But working with like more higher level players is something that I really love to do as well. So, but one of the things that we talked about at higher levels, Steve, is offense, right? And bringing in more tools to have in your bag. But what are two of them that that you're excited to go back and work on now that we've worked on?
Yeah, absolutely. The big one is topspin. Implementing topspin into my volleys, the roll volleys, forehand, backhand. So really it's that, it's the force shot, right? Like keeping the opponent back, using topspin. Because coming into this, you knew how flat my 4 shot was, or my 6 shot, or my volleys were. But implementing topspin is one thing, and even implementing topspin on dinks, right? Whether it's cross court. So topspin is one very big element that I'm really excited to drill and practice on. And secondly is speed ups. Right, or the two-handed backhand, right? Mainly, right? Which opens up so many options in the game, right? For deception, for speed ups, to really put your opponent on their heels, not knowing what this individual is going to do, right? They can speed it up. It could just be a regular dink. So the two-handed backhand and topspin are 2 things I really want to drill on when I get back home. We went through a lot of stuff, and not that, Steve, you didn't have topspin in your game already, but you did on the forehand side, or for sure. But it's just developing better technique, more higher level strategies. Strategy wise, to talk about that, and maybe something you can share with the audience when it comes to strategy and shot selection. If you watching right now haven't seen our video, it's released by now, but our New Year's video, go ahead and check that out. I go over this, the 4 pillars of pickleball, where these are the ones that you need to really, really focus on this year if you really want to become the best self that you can be on the court. But when it comes to strategy, Steve, what are maybe 1 or 2 huge takeaways? Because we talked about so much, right? But what are your 1 and 2 that could be probably just really helpful for people, and something that was eye-opening to you? Yeah. So going back to one of the things that I thought I knew coming into, or had a better grasp on coming into the intensive, was really recognition of where I am during a point, right? I think that's where it really starts. This will allow for better decision making and shot selection, right? That is really being self-aware, myself and my partner, or whether it's just myself in a singles match, whatever it might be. And what that creates, and I have my notes here.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I want to add as much detail for for everybody, right? Because this stuff was very eye-opening for me. First one is, there's 3 modes or 3 statuses, right? Am I on offense, defense, or is it neutral, right? And I think we understand what offense, defense, neutral means, right? And so if on defense, right? So if on defense, how do I get it to neutral, right? So it's really, in the past, I would think, okay, let's go from defense to offense right away, right? So what that means is journeying through the transition zone many times, right? Journeying through the transition zone, the goal should be really, once again, we're trying to get to neutral. So hitting more resets and shots that bounce in the kitchen is kind of the goal, right? To get us to the kitchen line, to get us to the kitchen, to get us through the transition rather than attacking balls, which I am infamous for doing many times in the transition zone. But, obviously there might be some high balls where you can be a little bit more offensive with.
Sure.
But in general, I think journeying through the transition zone, having more of a mindset of, I want to get this to neutral rather than me just going from defense to offense right away, right? I think that recognition really will help me going forward with shot selection. Like, where am I right now at this moment? And what do I need to do with the ball that they're giving me, right? What is the opponent giving me? Another one is if neutral, right? Or let's go with if on offense, how do I stay on offense? Right. That's what it is, right? Like if you are the receiving team, so that's basically you're not serving. How do I keep my opponents back, right? How do I keep them on defense and us on offense, right? What does I do? It's aggressive return of serve, aggressive force shot with top spin, things like that, keeping the opponent back on their heels, right? How do I keep them back there versus inviting them to the kitchen or giving them a ball where they can get to the kitchen, right? Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good, man.
And then in neutral, right? Once we get there, right? Once we are, whether we're coming from defense and we get to neutral, right? How do I create opportunities for offense, right? Because you want to go from neutral to offense. And that means using various shots like topspin dinks to move my opponents around to create opportunities or pop-ups, right? To attack.
There you go.
Right? And then also with that two-handed backhand, disguising certain shots like a dink to a speed up, right? Because I think shot deception can be a very powerful tool that if we have that in our tool belt, I think it would be great for any player, right?
Good, man.
So it's really that self-awareness of where we are or where I am in a point. Am I in a defense, neutral, or offensive situation? And that really will help me better with shot selection, which I think I really struggle with even now, but it's going to help me now going forward shot selection wise.
So Steve and I, we worked a lot on certain shot selection, certain patterns. And we're not gonna share everything. No. But that's really good, man. And I think that in any level, if you're listening to this and you're 3-0, 3-5, or even 4-5-5-0, and you're trying to improve your game, still, just that recognition of like, what stage am I in, right? Because those are the stages. And any time and a point, right, that can flip. And we were talking about how depending on the shot you're receiving or depending on the shot you're going to hit, that can flip on its head really quickly.
Right.
But just generally, right, and just to recap here, when you're on offense, staying on offense. And then the certain patterns and the certain shots that we do that. That's why we worked a lot on rolls and certain shot patterns. And then neutral. How do we get to offense? And then on defense, how do we get to neutral to get to offense?
Right.
There are select times where you can make the straight jump from defense to offense, but really understanding that is huge. And then we talked about a whole bunch of other things. But Steve, it was great, man. It was great to have you. And my first official one-on-one intensive. That was a blast, man.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan.
It was good to get to know you.
Yeah.
And for those watching, what is the rest of the show going to look like here? We're going to talk a lot about amateur's journey.
Yeah.
To pro. Yeah. Steve is in. I don't think he has any plans to go pro. But maybe senior pro one day.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Steve, your journey has been shorter than I think a lot of others listening so far. It depends how long you've been playing. Mm-hmm. But why don't you tell the viewers kind of your backstory, because and why we're going to talk about this. I think it's really going to be beneficial to a lot of you listening. We're going to talk about practicing, drilling, how you can actually improve, the steps that you can take to actually get there, right? As 2024, it's a new year, and all of us are trying to improve at some level in our game, in our marriage, in different things, right? This is the year. January is the month for what is it called?
Resolutions.
Yeah, resolutions.
Yeah,
resolutions.
goals, yeah.
Comment below if you have a pickleball resolution, or if you have some non-pickleball resolution. Comment below. Let us know. But yeah, Steve, what can you tell the viewers about your journey and kind of how that, just how pickleball kind of has affected your life?
Yeah.
Right? Because we were talking about that at lunch or dinner the other night. How crazy it is to be where we are here.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
So yeah, pickleball, I think everyone who's watching or listening right now knows how impactful it is for each of us, right? In different ways. My journey started in pickleball July of 2022, so about a year and a half ago, right? And I was at a church retreat, and and during one of the, I think, free times, I saw a bunch of people playing pickleball on a concrete court, makeshift concrete court, and I was just like, I was judging it. I was like, I hear this game, pickleball, and I was looking at it, I was like, doesn't look too hard. Just like, we've heard it all before, right? Everyone's like, this doesn't look too hard, there isn't much to the game, that's kind of the assumption, right? And then I joined in and I started playing, and it was great. And I would say my life is better and is different from that moment on, right, till now. And I would say in many different levels, whether it's physically, we'll get into that, right? Physically, having a goal, a reason to eat healthy, sleep early, work out. That's pickleball has changed all of that, and we'll get into that. Number two is just socially, right? And I think we've talked about this before. As adults, many of us probably don't make a lot of new friends or have opportunities to make new friends or new connections, especially post-pandemic, right? Yeah. Because the pandemic really isolated many people, really, I think, hurt a lot of social structures that existed. But, we as relational beings, we need each other, right? We need relationships. And I think pickleball, and I joke with my wife, or my wife jokes with me as well.
Sure.
Myself and probably all the pickleball people have never been as popular in their lives as the last, let's say, 2 years since they started pickleball. And the reason I say that is you're exchanging phone numbers, contact information to kind of like strangers, right? These people that you're part of WhatsApp groups, like Team Reach. There's all these different Telegram, there's all these different groups that you're part of. And it's the nucleus is pickleball, right? Yeah. You're getting contact information. You're getting a request to play. You're asking people to play with you, right? There's all these different moving parts that have been so great, I think, from the social side that I've met people like you, Jordan. I've met I can't even count on one, like how many people I've met through pickleball. I just have to look at the context on my phone, right? And I can guarantee you there's over 50, right, in there just from the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I always label it like such and such pickleball, right? In the contact name. Like you have to know, like
I do PB.
PB, okay, yeah, PB. So, not only the physical, but the social, right?
Yeah.
Those two have really been impacted over the last year and a half for myself because, it's that fire, this goal, this reason to stay healthy and active, right? Pickleball is fantastic for the last year and a half for me. Yeah,
that's great, man. Yeah. I have to really sit back and try to be as look at it. It's hard because I'm doing so much sometimes, right? We talked about that. There's YouTube. There's the podcast, videos, so much planning and teaching. But when I sit back and kind of look at the journey, the pickleball journey, if you will, that I've been on the past almost decade now. It's going to be 9 years, I believe, in actually this month. So it's just been amazing. It's been amazing. I've met so many people, in my, even in my first 2 years or 3 years of pickleball. I can honestly say thousands now. In 9 years. I mean, and know hundreds, in the hundreds by name. It's just been it's been really cool. So for those, I'm sure those of you listening, it's the same story. Whether you've been playing for 6 months or 6 years, there's so many relationships that you probably it's weird to think about. So many people that you can look through your contacts and so many people you would not be in there,
right,
if it weren't for hitting a wiffle ball,
right? Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
think about it like that.
Yep.
But so I'm super grateful for that, and I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm just I'm super grateful as I look back, and I'm excited about this year. You have this quote here. Steve. Who is this? Antoine?
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce the name. It looks French, right? It looks French.
It's a French dude. Yeah. It's a French guy.
Yeah. And do you want me to read the quote?
Go ahead, man.
So this is: a goal without a plan is simply a wish, right? So let that digest a little bit, right? A goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah.
Right? And I think if we look at that, how does this relate, right, to this podcast, to ourselves? It really is, if we really want to accomplish something, we need to have something concrete, written, a plan to get there, right?
Yeah.
If we don't have something that's concrete or written or a roadmap of some kind, then it's pretty much wishful thinking, right? And it's almost Jan 1, right? We're it's going to be, New Year's resolutions, all these things.
Yeah.
I think is it's great to have goals, resolutions. We're always trying to improve ourselves, right? Or, try to live the best life possible.
Yeah.
We need a plan. You need to have a plan. And relevant is pickleball, right? A lot of us want to get better. I think everyone who's watching this right now has some desire to get better at pickleball.
Yeah.
If that desire wasn't there, why would you be watching these tutorials, right? Why would you be watching these things? Because you want to get better, right? So
no, it's great, man. I like that. Yeah, planning has been a big one. I like that. I like that a lot. For those of you who who are trying to get better, I would encourage you to write some stuff down. Obviously, we're gonna get into how you can specifically actually improve your game. We're going to talk about some recovery things and things like that Steve, that you're actually diving into and stuff like that. But so post-intensive, before you came training with me, how did you get to, why don't we talk a little bit about how your pickleball improvement journey has been?
Yeah.
And up until this point,
Yeah.
Tonight, and then what do you think, or what are your plans? Like as you have all these things to now work on and start implementing and into your game. Obviously, drilling is going to be a big portion of that, and I'll hold you accountable to that.
Yes.
But yeah. So what did it look like up until now and going forward?
Yeah, no, great question. Really, it's, I have like 4 things really for plan to improvement, right? And just like many of us who started pickleball, we were playing, let's say 4 to 6 times or 7 times a week, maybe multiple times a day.
Wow, 7 times a week.
Yeah, so, not myself, but I'm sure some player, some people out there. But we're playing anywhere and everywhere, but these are games, right? These are games. So since I started in July, probably for the first year, I just played games, right?
I did too.
Yeah.
I think, probably for the first year too.
For the first year, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But games don't give you the reps. It gives you certain reps, and games are really important because then you get that experiential knowledge, right? Of, so many things, right? But if I really wanted to improve after about a year, I thought, how do I improve? Because there were certain aspects of the game, whether it's a third shot drop, whether it is, dinking at the kitchen, whether it's resets. There's so many shots, right, within the game of pickleball that I needed to improve on, right? Because from where I started to where I want to get to, right?
Yeah.
And it's a constant. It's like you're trying to constantly get better, right? So I was thinking, okay, what do I need to do that I'm not doing that will help me get better?
Yeah.
Right. One of the big things was start watching YouTube channels, right? Tutorials, right? The tutorials are great when you watch them, but you have to practice what they're teaching you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it's kind of like this. You want to get my daughter, she was playing the violin. She has lessons once a week. A 30-minute lesson will not help her improve if she's not practicing on her own. Right? Because I can meet with you, Jordan, once a week for an hour. And if that's the only time I practice, I will not improve. It will be very slow. The progression will be very slow.
Yes.
And also, what you're teaching me, the reps I need, it's kind of like in basketball. You need jump shots. You need to shoot. You need to shoot a lot of jump shots to get good, right?
Yeah.
You need those reps. Same thing with any sport, right? Pickleball is no different, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, drilling. Drilling is the homework, right? Drilling is the time where I get the reps for the third shot drop, for the dinking, right, at the kitchen line, for resets, in the transition zone. So drilling versus play, I realized I had to scale back the play, because if I was playing 6 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever that is, I knew that I had to fit in drilling because I have a family, I have a job, right? I can't just focus on pickle. I'm not a professional pickleball player. I have to put food on the table, right? I have to be present to my wife and my children, right? So my time is very limited. Most of all of our time is very limited, right? So I knew I had to cut something. That was my gameplay time, right? And I had to replace that with drilling time, right?
Sure. How did you go about that? And what drills did you pick?
Yeah.
And how'd you go about picking which ones?
Yeah.
And what's your drill to play ratio up until kind of just in normal?
Yeah.
Like up until now.
Yeah. So the way that, in the very beginning when I made that decision, I didn't have a drilling partner, a human being. I didn't have a partner to drill with. So my wife graciously bought me a ball machine, right, to drill with.
And you said you have the spin shot, right?
The spin shot, yeah.
Okay.
It's a great ball machine. So what I worked on with the spin shot, and a ball machine is great, but it's very limited in what you can work on with it, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it has its limitations, right?
Yeah.
But so what are the shots that I used? What are the shots that I worked on at the very beginning? It was third shot drop, right? Third shot drop when I'm at the baseline, right? You know, so the ball machine would just constantly feed me balls, and I would just drop cross court, you know, ahead of me, and I just did that. So I constantly just worked on the third shot drop to get that touch, and I would set up cones, things like that, little targets within the kitchen. So third shot drop was definitely very big. Even ground strokes, I just worked on that, right? You know, backhand ground strokes. I think that's something that a lot of people would like to improve on is their backhand, right? You just need the reps, and the ball machine is perfect for that because you know, because you just can't have it constantly feed you balls, and you hit hundreds of balls. Yeah, and you'll get better. You'll get better, right? Yeah. But what I realize is the ball machine plus YouTube tutorials, you know, will really take you a long way. You know, to a certain step, right? Because you need to get instruction, right? Because if you just have the ball machine, you go out there thinking, you know, footwork to technique. You need guidance, right? And I think YouTube is very good about that. Like your channel, Jordan, is very good about that, right? So watching that, and then even before going out to drill, journaling and being like, okay, what are like the things? Because some people watch the YouTube channel on the court and be like, okay, I want that, but I like to journal and like write things down. I like that, man. Because then it reminds me, literally as I'm writing it down, it helps me memorize as well what I need to focus on in that drill, whether it's ground strokes, whether it's third shot drop, things like that. So third shot drop was very big, ground strokes, even kitchen volleys. Have the ball machine feed you. Sure. Because when we play against bangers and things like that, you need to be ready, you know, to punch back and things like that. It's great. But when it comes to dinking, I think you need a human drilling partner. That's probably the most beneficial when it comes to dinking at the kitchen. Yeah, you're right. Ball machines can, you know, definitely has its place. I actually have the Simon X. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's a good one. Great ball machine. Mm-hmm. So when you use the ball machine as much as you could, and then from there though, what did your typical drilling session look like, and you know, up until now, and what did you do? Yeah, so when it comes to drilling, so with the ball machine, it was pretty standard: third shot drop, ground strokes, kitchen volleys, things like that. Fortunately now I do have a drilling partner, you know, who's pretty dedicated. Here's a big one, Steve, right? Yeah. A lot of people ask, I've taught a lot of intensives this year. Every single person that coming from all levels, all over the country, they're there because they're serious, right? They want to get better. Yeah. They want to get the highest level coaching. That's what they come for. And the homework, like you said, right? Because I give this whole list of things that we went over, and specifically for them. And for you, I haven't done yours yet. I'm going to work on yours in the next week or so. But all these specific things that you're going to be working on and things like that. But if I had just at least even a penny for every time someone says, if I would do it, if I could find a drilling partner, or I don't have a drilling partner, I might be a millionaire. Who knows? Multi-millionaire. No, seriously. Yeah. But anyways, how do you go about getting a drilling partner? Because I think, see, for me, I have some feedback, but I haven't been in that position in a while. Got it. Right? Yeah. But a lot of people, they're like, well, you know, I have some thoughts, but how did you go about that? Because I'm sure it wasn't that easy. So give the viewers maybe your journey of getting a drilling partner. And this is huge for those of you listening. Maybe here's some good tips here. Yeah, great question, Jordan. Shout out to Rich. That's the name of my drilling partner. Oh, Rich. And wow, thank you, Rich. You know, I think the first place to start is the groups that we're part of. Right. You know, like the the WhatsApp groups, the Team Reach groups. We're all part of some type of group or league or some type of social play group.
Sure. Yeah.
From there, if you can spot another person with as much passion as you do, right? Because it's got to be mutually beneficial, right? It's not like you're asking them to coach you for free, right?
Yeah.
But you need to find someone that's maybe at your level, maybe slightly better than you even, or better than you, right?
Yeah.
That's the ideal. If they're better than you, that's the best thing possible. But that can be hard, right? Because that individual is probably looking for someone better than they are to drill with, right? So what I would say is start with the groups that you're part of. Identify maybe one or two individuals that you get along with well, right? That you jive well.
Yeah, I like that.
Personalities mesh. And then ask them, do you want to drill? Would you like to drill together? And in the beginning, it might be...
You want to go on this dance with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Would you like this? Yeah. Would you like to dance with me? Or may I dance with you? Right. Identify those one or two individuals that you feel that you mesh well with, and you know who those people are, right? There's probably people in the group that you probably wouldn't want to grab lunch with, right? Or wouldn't want to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours every week or whatever that is with. So try to identify one or two players that you get along with that are similar level, maybe a little better, right? And then thirdly, just who has that passion and is reliable, right?
Yeah.
And reliability, it takes time to test that, right?
Yeah.
Because you might make that first drilling appointment, that date, right? But the second date might not come. The third date might not come, or it might fizzle out, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like dating in a way.
It is. It really is. It really is. Because you're forming a relationship, and there's a purpose for this relationship, right? And it's to get better, right? And if you can find someone that's like-minded, who has a passion to get better and is willing to wake up or to sacrifice sleep late at night or whatever it might be.
Or just sacrifice in general.
Sacrifice in general, yeah.
Dude.
And I would those are probably the recommendations I have. Look within the groups that you're already a part of, right? Find individuals within that group that you jive well with, similar skill, right? And then thirdly, make that first date. Ask them out, make that first appointment and see where that leads to, right? And
if it doesn't work, just move on.
Move on, exactly.
Move on with it.
Move on, yeah.
I like that, man.
But but I would recommend you be the best partner possible as well, right? You show up, right? You got to make the determination that I'm going to be there on time. I am going to be there for this person. You be the best drilling partner possible, right? Make that determination on your own first, and then expect it from the other person, right? But you be that person first. Right?
Yeah. I remember my first year, probably going to my second year, when I started to really compete in tournaments. Shout out to my OG original drilling partner, Dave Wage. Okay, Dave, you probably may or may not be listening to this, but those are the things that we got along. He was great, and off the bat, I just knew his skill was there. Or what I wanted, and I knew that, that he can hit the balls that I would need at the level at that time. Right. Because I don't know, I think maybe at that time I was probably 4.0. Right, maybe 4.5, crossing that. But from there, I just put in so many hours on the court, and we made it fun. And a lot of I think why a lot of people stop or they're stagnant on practicing. Number one, it's hard to find a drilling partner. So those suggestions are great. And then number two, a lot of people think that drilling is boring, or it's not fun. Right. If you go on our YouTube channel, Briones Pickleball, we just released a video of 12 days of drilling.
Yes.
for Christmas. And I that was a last minute video that me and Matt did. Oh, you actually play with Matt. But you know, you can make drilling fun, and to me, hitting the shots and getting my reps is fun to me.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you, I really like that that you said, you know, try to find someone that you mesh well with.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you know, if they're kind of, you're not gonna get a drilling partner with someone like you said that you wouldn't really want to hang out with.
Right.
It's not gonna last long, right? Yeah. That's like dating somebody that like you really
can't stand.
Yeah. So I'm fortunate here in Arizona to have, you know, and I'm in a different position. I understand that than a lot of other people, but there, you know, I'm fortunate to have different players that their skills are really, really high. There's a lot of pros here and things like that. But I just find that first. But where was I going with that? Anyways, when I started drilling, that's obviously like, you know, that's where you're going to see your game grow. Yeah. And then you said something about you know, try to find someone at your level or above. So your drilling partners right now, Steve, why don't you describe them? So are they at your level or are they above? And if they are, how is that? Because you said it has to be mutually beneficial. Right. So what do your drilling partners look like now, and how many do you have?
So my consistent drilling partner, you know, I would say was better, you know, or maybe even is still better in a lot of ways, right? But one thing that I really do see is the more you play with, let's say, someone better than you, it's like that Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron, right? You know, like that's what it is, right? You will play up to that level eventually, you know, if you're doing the right things, you're showing up. So I learn a lot from my drilling partner, right? Their dedication and their research into the Briones, you know, like all the YouTube channels, right? They are sending me Instagram stuff. They are sending me like YouTube clips, right?
Those are the people you want.
Yeah,
huh?
Those are the people you want. The people that are doing the outreach. And then when you come to, and you were talking about I love drilling more than, almost as equally or more than gameplay actually at this point, because we only drill for maybe an hour 15 each session, like or an hour, right?
Okay.
But
I like that.
You can get that sweat. You can gamify a lot of these drills like you do in the video. And it really adds that intensity and that fun to it, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I would really recommend to, you know, like all the viewers is, if you're doing these games, encourage your partner. Don't just try to beat them, right? You know, be like, if they hit a good drop or tell them awesome, you know, like encourage them, encourage each other, right? Because you're on this journey together.
Yeah.
Right? You really are. So yeah, I would say finding someone that's similar or better than you is really important, because if you want to continue to progress, it's the same thing. You want to play with better players or against better players, right? Because they are going to humble you. They're going to teach you things that like they're going to expose your weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
And you need to know what those are, right? To get better, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know, right, Jordan? Like that's the thing that you always say, right?
Yeah.
And you need to know what your weaknesses are to get better.
Yeah. I like that, man.
Yeah.
All right. So, grab a drilling partner this year. And one of the things that I would just, and I tell people all the time, even for me, and I think it's harder when you're more of an introvert.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to really put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I think if you actually really, whatever it is, ego, or it's just the uncomfortability, right? Just reaching out to whoever the heck will drill with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I drill with a lot of pros here, a lot of 5.0, 5.5 plus, but if I need to get a drilling session, because sometimes my schedule is kind of crazy, as you know. So my thing, I don't play much right now, but what I do, like a lot of games, I will get in high level games when I can, but what I do is if if I don't have those games, I need to drill at least once or twice a week to keep up my skills.
Yes.
So that's what I do.
Yeah.
So I will call, like, I mean, and I'll text like some, even 4.5s.
Yeah.
Even 4.0s. I've done that just because I know that they would love that, but also I get my reps.
Yes.
So I will even drill with like lower level players, and that's good for me. It's all fun. So,
Yeah.
but you got to put yourself out there.
You do. You do.
So.
And you know, a lot of us might be waiting for someone to ask me.
Yeah.
But you should go out, initiate. Maybe that should be your resolution, this year, is find a drilling partner and initiate that first date. We'll call it a date.
Yeah, find the wife. Okay?
Yeah.
You're not gonna if I didn't ask my wife out or ask her to marry me, she might not have married someone. She would have moved on. You gotta go get it.
Yeah. You gotta ask. You have to ask.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. Yeah. Well, what are we going to next?
So maybe some other things besides drilling that have helped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Like I said, number 2 is like journaling. Journaling is something that is been really helpful for me. And so the question is, go ahead.
No, yeah. So I was going to ask, so journaling, I'm sure a lot of people are like, what? Do you journal about a lot of things outside of pickleball and just in life and stuff like that? Or is this just for pickleball?
Just for pickleball.
Really?
Yeah. So,
wow. Okay.
So for pickleball, it's because I wish I could remember everything. And going back to even what to bring to the drilling session, I want to bring kind of a list of things or things to focus on, right, that I watched on you. Because a lot of us consume a lot of content.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine that we remember all that. All the things that maybe Jordan is teaching us or someone else is teaching us. It's really hard to have that photographic memory or, like perfect memory that I remember and I'll just take to the court and I'll apply. Yeah. So I need personally to write it down.
Yeah.
And that's almost like forced memory because you remember when we were growing up, there's things called like cheat sheets, right? And it's the oddest thing is when you're putting a cheat sheet together for a test, and I'm not condoning cheating or anything like that, but when you're putting a note thing, you're actually bringing that to memory. It's helping you get ready for that test. You don't really need the cheat sheet afterwards, right? Because you're writing it down, and there's something very productive about writing something down to help with that memory, right? Yes. So I guess the question is, what do I journal, right? Like what's included in here?
Let's hear your pickleball journal. I've never heard of this one, Steve.
Yeah. So first,
you know what? You might have given me idea to make something, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a pickleball journal. Briones Pickleball Journal coming to you soon in 2025.
I love it. So my first journal entry is November 17th, 2022.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was I journaled about each match. I played 3 matches that day. And I put things I didn't even prepare but it's like backhand dink to the middle of opponents, not high or wide. So I'm writing things down. Next one is like volley, do not swing back, keep that W, keep it nice and tight, quick recovery, right? Paddle recovery. These are things that
this was over a year ago.
This is over a year ago, November 17th, 2022, right? So and these are notes actually that I wrote because I actually like to film my matches, right?
That's huge, man.
Yeah, because you really don't know. It's hard to remember not only what you're watching, but how when you're playing in the moment. Did you really do things the right way? Did I do things the way Jordan has taught me? Or like, am I doing the things that I think I'm doing?
Yeah.
And the only thing is film doesn't lie.
That's it.
Right?
That's
the
it.
Film does not lie. So what I went out is I just went out and bought like a small action camera. It doesn't have to be fancy.
Yeah. Like,
GoPro or an Osmo.
Or even your iPhone.
Just
record one game a match.
Yeah. And recording that and then watching it back has been very beneficial.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah. And these notes, this journal entry is really me watching back those matches and writing down things that I didn't do and that I need to remember for the next one, right? So
that's dedication, man.
Yeah, no, and
I like that. And yeah, for those of you, like I already mentioned earlier in the pod, you know, we asked, that's why we asked for footage. And even during our 2 days here, we went through so much. Obviously, I recorded a lot of it, a lot of slow-mo stuff, analysis. You'll see that later. But also recording matches. Today, we had some matches. I recorded some games, and we'll look at it, and I'll break it down. But yeah, if you've never seen yourself on camera, it could be very eye-opening to you. And you know, a lot of players that I coach, I've even done some virtual coaching here and there, but when they hop on court with me, I look at their film beforehand, even after and during, and like you'll find yourself doing things that you didn't know you did,
right,
and you'll find yourself not doing things that you thought you did.
Right. Yeah. Right? Absolutely.
So it's so huge. And, you know, becoming a student of the game myself, I mean, I study the game a lot. So I watch a lot of film of pros, right? That's the film that I watch.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm analyzing a lot of amateur film all the time. So yeah, so get out there, get a camera, even if it's your iPhone. It would be beneficial to you to even record a game, even just one game, a drilling session. But that is why even like you said, and you started, Steve, in the beginning, like even watching your own film, but there are some things that you still didn't see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a coach's eye. Right.
Yeah.
And that's huge. Before we move on, I just want to pull up a picture here. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. There you go. So that's me and Steve. First inaugural one-on-one intensive.
Yeah.
You got the double black diamond there?
Yes.
You said you got that because of our paddle reviews, huh?
I did. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So they're here at Pickleball Backyard. Shout out to Pickleball Backyard here in Gilbert. Yeah. If you're interested in doing a one-on-one, just we'll have a link below or something like that. Yeah. But also, Steve, and this is an invitation to you as well. Okay. But I have been doing these 2-day intensives all year round. This year, it was my first full year, and I was telling you how just great they've been. All the players coming from all over had such a great time. But this year, first another inaugural.
Yeah.
All right. We're starting. So for those of you listening, again, this is not going to be for everyone. So for those of you watching, when I say this, if you think it's crazy, that's totally okay. But for those insane, crazy pickleball maniacs who is like totally serious about your game, and someone like you, Steve, you're super serious, coming training with me one-on-one. But we're announcing, and we already have in our New Year's video, but our 5-day super intensive Briones Pickleball Academy.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're selecting 12 players from each from a skill level, like 4.0 or 4.5, just 12 max, and then it'll be me and another coach, and like 5 days.
Awesome.
5 days of training.
Yeah, that sounds great.
and all the stuff, and man, the 2 days with you. The thing that I learned is it goes by quick, right? And there's so much to learn. Yeah. But all I can say, there's going to be way more details below if you want to, if you're even remotely interested in a full week of training. We're going to schedule this way in advance, okay? For those of you, so you can set aside your calendar. But it's definitely, I don't think it's been done in the pickleball world.
Yeah.
Not like this.
Yeah.
But no, this is super intensive. So if you want to look at your entire game with 11 other people, maybe you could bring a friend. But it's gonna be fun. Yeah. It's gonna be fun because we're gonna be doing match play analysis. We're gonna be doing training. We're gonna be doing round robins. It's kind of like everything. Yeah. Like probably very super serious tournament players, things like that. Great. But hey. Steve, That was good, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. This was awesome.
Where were we? Where were we?
What I put in the journal. So going back to
yeah.
like, what are the things that has worked for me in journaling, right? So it's once again analyzing film, right? Analyzing my gameplay, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing is being intentional going into gameplay, right? So what does that mean? It's like having one or two goals going into your open play, one or two goals going into your league play, because we have to practice or intentionally try to work on certain things to improve, right?
Do you remember? So we played a couple games that like earlier, but before that we were doing some on court analysis and coaching. Do you remember the two things from this afternoon that I told you to focus on?
Yeah. Give me a second here. Okay. So one thing for sure was if I'm being stressed or pulled out wide while I'm at the kitchen, right? Dink middle, like reset to the middle, right? In between, and middle means if my opponent pulls me off wide through an aggressive dink or something, instead of going back cross court aggressively, which I had the natural tendency to do in the past, is to really try to aim and reset, have the ball bounce in the kitchen to give me time to come back, but also in between the two opponents, right? So that was something, and it worked great. Like today during gameplay, when I noticed if I dink to the middle, not an attackable ball, but a ball that will bounce, right? It really helps me get back into position, but also many times it causes confusion between and then that causes an opportunity afterwards, right? So that was one.
That's one. What was the other one?
The other one, it was a long 2 days. Let me think here.
No, I'm just testing you, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The second one is, I don't know, Jordan, help me out here.
You know what? I don't know if I remember. I'm just kidding.
I think it was just one, actually.
Okay.
It was just that one because I don't think you wanted to overwhelm me with too many things. But going back to like,
so we got fireworks almost New Year's. Okay.
Yeah. But I think it's going into these games with intentionality, with purpose, right? I think, and writing that down before you get to the court. That's what I do. Or in the car, thinking before you go play. What do I want to work on? Right? Do I want to work on a deeper serve, a deep return? Because just those two elements, it changes the point drastically.
Yeah. So for those of you listening too, so like in your example, Steve, we worked on a plethora of stuff, strategy, shot selection, developing different skills, speed ups, rolls, like so much, right? There it could be overwhelming, and I really like that because that's something that I do. You can, like, when you go into a game now, when you go to a drilling session, you're isolating those skills or those patterns that we talked about, high level patterns or certain things that you're isolating them so that you can hit them over and over repeatedly. When you get into a game, right, there's a lot of different factors. There's a lot of different things that can happen. And in drilling session, right, in an hour drilling session, you can probably practice 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 things different times. But when you get in a game, it's hard to focus on everything because you're not isolating one thing. So really developing a mindset that you've drilled in practice, and then you're going to practice the one or two things and to max. Like in this game, I'm going to, when this happens, I'm going to do this. So, because like when you play that game, some games earlier, I mean, there's like, 4 or 5, 6 things that we worked on that you could have utilized. But we're going to do one thing at a time. Even in my game, to give the viewers like something that I'm working on. Even in my game, I'm working on a lot more aggression on my backhand wing, and we talked about that today. But my returns on my backhand, like coming over the ball, two hands.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do a video on that really soon with topspin. And just rolling a lot more of my dinks.
Yeah.
And we touched on that a little bit. But yeah, it's just super huge. So even my journey, even to what I am now in coaching from 2.0 all the way up to 5.0 plus, like I'm still continuing to evolve, and I'm planning and I'm working on all these things as well as I see, the game evolving, and as I teach so many different players. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, man.
Intentionality, like always being intentional and purposeful. And I would say one thing just before we, move on to the next thing is just that in gameplay, instincts and natural habits kick in typically, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So having this journal, it's still on the journal, right? Having this journal to remind yourself, written, even in between games, what am I working on today, right? Because you might forget so easily what you're trying to come into the session. And what I found is win or lose, if I'm working on that one thing, it's a win, right? Whether myself and my partner lose that match, I don't want to lose, but it's still a win because I myself as a player am working on something to progress as a player.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a win no matter what the score was because you're working on that. And one thing just to do is, your partner be like, hey, before the match starts, I'm going to try to really work. Just tell them I'm going to really work on deep returns or deep serves. Give me a little grace, like if I hit it out or long, just know that I'm working on it. And, and if it's not don't do this during a tournament, right?
Don't do this on tournament.
No, not during tournament play, but in your rec games, in your open play games, right? And let your partner know. And I think that's great for even them to hear because they'll be like, hey, Jordan's working on this one thing.
Yeah.
I should probably do something like this. I should be focusing on one thing or two things.
Yeah.
And I think and sometimes your partner might be like, ooh, deep serve? What like, why? Or like, a deep return. They might not have maybe they might be a beginner or whatever. They might not have thought about what that opens up and how that just changes the dynamic of the point right away. A deep serve and a deep return. My drilling partner and I talk about that all the time. It just changes the point right away if you can do one of those two things: a really good serve, a really good return. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's what else we got?
Another on that map to improvement, or
maybe one last thing you can share that that in this journey up until now, that's really helped your game. How about that?
Yeah. Like conditioning and recovery.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Because we can have all the skills, but if our body isn't ready, we've seen all the articles, we've seen fellow players go down with injuries. It's heartbreaking, right? To see fellow players, as we're, I'm 40 plus right now. So, a lot of the players that I started to play with, or I still play with, are maybe 50 plus, right? They might be older, right? And a lot of pickleball players are older, which is great, right? Which is fantastic, but it might be more prone to injury, right? So like Achilles tears have been very common that I've seen, which is heartbreaking, honestly, when a player goes down. Like I've torn my ACL twice, when I was younger. And I had surgery, and the recovery is not easy, even when you're younger, right? It's not easy. So, so seeing that, I'm like, okay, how do I do whatever I can possibly do to prevent injury, right? And you and I joke about this, and some of the things that I have here is really like very easy to do, or should be easy to do, like a dynamic warm up, right? Before we play. How many times have we, the viewers or players, have seen we do a little dinking?
We were talking about it.
Yeah. It's like some players are like, right when they step on the court, they're like 0-0-2. They just start, right? Like let's do a warm up game, right? That's typically what it is, right? A warm up game. right?
Comment below if you are a 7 or a 17. So what I mean by that is, do you take 7 dinks and then you're ready to play, or 17? Or are you like me and I'm maybe I'm closer to 100 or 100 to 200?
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
And that is so, we've all seen it. I'm guilty of that as well, you know. But just seeing fellow players go down with injuries, I just realized I need to do a dynamic warm up.
Yeah.
And what is dynamic? It's like jogging in place, you know, like doing like high knees, you know, you know, like just get
that blood flowing.
Get that blood flowing, right? And it could be like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not uncommon for me to be the only one doing dynamic warm up. Mm-hmm. Even when I get to, you know, like an open play or something, maybe they all did that at home before they got to the court.
Yeah.
But most likely they didn't, right? You know, but I would do that, do a couple like body squats, right? Up and down, do like 10. Do like 2 push-ups or something, right? To get like the muscles circulating.
2 push-ups?
2, 20, whatever that is.
Maybe
right?
more, maybe a little more.
Yeah. But just body squats, some lunges, body weight lunges, right?
Yeah, we have a dynamic warm-up video on our channel, so go check that out if you're interested. Okay, so dynamic warm-up, super important. And what else are you doing to keep your conditioning or your body?
Yeah.
Healthy.
Healthy. So another one is just real quick on dynamic warm up. After that, stretching after you play.
Yeah.
Right. Just a minute or 2 of stretching your calves, your hamstrings, things like that. That will go a long way to.
That's something I definitely don't do right now. I got to start implementing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Elongate those, you know, like, you know, get it ready.
Well, it's tough. Like it's funny. Everyone's like, last game, one more game. And then they're rushing.
Right.
You're rushing to work or you're rushing to whatever after.
Right.
And we talked about discipline on the court.
Yeah.
With certain shots and shot selections and how to be disciplined in a point, but having the discipline to come off the court early and not play that extra game.
Yeah, right.
That's really tough.
That's tough.
That
is really tough.
But I see why that's very, very important.
Yeah, and that's why I always say 1 minute. Just do 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
You know, whether it's at the car, you know, or whatever it is, or on the court. A lot of players change their shoes, right? They have court shoes and they have, you know, and just like non-court shoes that they change it. Right before you change out, just be like, let me do some calf stretches or something simple, right? You know? And I think that'll be good. 1 minute. Just do 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
And then going in the next one is just weight training, right? You know, I think depending on...
Are you working with a personal trainer or anything right now? Or what weights are... What exercises are you doing?
Yeah. And I have a bunch, but... do you want me to go into detail about those? Or?
Just share just a few.
A few. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Your main top 2.
Yeah. Top 2
ones that you're doing.
Yeah, I do like kettlebell goblet squats, right?
Those are the ones where you have them here?
Or like right up here.
Oh, up here.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
right?
And then you're going.
And you go down. So squats, right? We've all heard the benefits of squats, you know. And so I do that, and lunges. Right, lunges are really
just the ones where you're stepping and then
forward.
Going.
Yeah. So or like have some kind of weight if you can, whether it's dumbbells, whether it's like a sack of grain or whatever it is, right? Kettlebells.
Some white rice
works. Brown rice works just as well, right? You know, jasmine rice. You know, so all of those work well, but you want some resistance training. I think that's what it's called, right? Resistance training.
Yeah, sure.
Because you know, body weight is great, but I think we need to continuously progress and challenge our muscles a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're older, younger, it doesn't matter, right? I think, you know, we need to maintain that muscle. And if what I learned the most from ACL and MCL tears is that if the surrounding and the bigger muscles are really good around those like smaller minor areas, it really, it will protect, right? So, and nothing's foolproof, right? And I know that, but all these things are really trying to do our very best to prevent, right, injury. So those lunges, and then one thing is really good is there's a lot of shuffling side to side in pickleball, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of that. So
Talked about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shuffling. So there's these elastic bands.
Yeah, that you put on your
ankles.
Oh,
you could do ankles.
I some put on right above the knee.
You could do that too. Yeah, above the knee.
I haven't actually tried that. I gotta get some of those.
So good. And that was what I learned in rehab, in the physical therapy from ACL tears. That side to side, right? So it's a resistance band basically, and you just shuffle steps side to side, but in a controlled manner, right? You go side to side, and then go back the other way, right? Because there's so much shuffling at the kitchen.
Yeah,
that's so important. That lateral movement that we're talking about.
Yep.
So that is something that I never forget to do. So if you just do
man.
goblet squats and some push-ups, go from 2 to 20, whatever that is, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Because you get the upper body, you get the lower body, but I think a lot of it is really the lower body focus.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're not sure what to do, anything you can do to I would say strengthen your back and your legs.
Yeah.
That's going to be big because we're leaning over, right? We worked on roll volleys.
Yes.
And we're working on your stance, right? More athletic, but we're leaning, we're bending down a lot in the game, and that's just huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So core, right? It's like that core. We hear it all the time.
Core,
yeah. But it's all that it's one chain, right? That's so important. But yeah, resistance training, weight training, I think is essential if you really want to improve your pickleball game. And that's what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
Really, if the goal, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right? We need that plan, and weight training is essential to that plan, right? Because if you get injured, you're hindering the accomplishment of that goal, right? That journey is really, it really pauses for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
So weight training, I would definitely do that. And then just the last one is recovery.
All right. So let's talk about your thing that
you
do. You do it every day, or
I try to.
Okay.
I try to do every day. It's ice bath or cold plunge.
Yeah, cold plunging.
Yeah.
I've been really thinking about getting into that. I know I have a lot of friends that do it and that I know, and I just know that it's super beneficial. What are actually, we've had some guests that actually talked about it. So so how long do you do it, and what are the effects that you've noticed yourself?
Yeah.
Obviously there's a whole bunch of data to back it up, but just from your own, like, cause everyone knows their own body and what it feels like. So why is that beneficial?
Yeah, it's the recovery, right? Recovery. And a lot of us are playing pickleball multiple times a week, right? I usually schedule my ice baths after my workout, right? Or after my games, right? Or after my drilling session, or in between two games, right? Or in between two sessions. Some of us do double headers, right? Is
it better to do it after or before? Is there a science behind that? Because people do it in the morning.
Yeah, I do it in the morning typically. Okay. Yeah, but because I'm an early riser and I do all my drilling and everything in the morning. Yeah. So I'll do it after that. But the reason I do it afterwards is because what I found for myself personally is that the next day or before that next session, I don't have those achy joints, those sore muscles. Yeah. That I did, if I didn't do the ice bath.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does it really completely go away? Almost.
Wow. Yeah. Because for instance, if I played pickleball for, let's say, like 2 hours, right? Like game play or open play, league play, whatever it might be. If I don't do an ice bath, and it's only for 3 minutes, right? It sounds short. Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's only 3 minutes.
Only 3 minutes.
And has that much of an effect.
It does. It really does. So if I don't do those 3 minutes, the next morning, when I get out of bed, I'm a little bit like, I feel older. Like I'll just say that. I feel older, right?
So do an ice bath and you'll feel younger.
Yeah, absolutely. And but the days I do an ice bath, the next morning, like I'm ready. Like my joints, my muscles, and it really helps me, because I think one of the big things is it really flushes out a lot of like whatever it's like lactic acid or whatever, the stuff that's built up in our circulatory system or whatever that is from a workout or, gameplay. It really flushes it because it constricts the blood vessels and then releases right when you get out, and it flushes it out. It's almost like a Drano, right? It's basically it's clearing out all the blood vessels. So so it's either ice bath or even on this trip here to Arizona, I did cryotherapy.
Yeah, you said for the first time.
First time, yeah.
Tell us a little bit of that experience.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. So going into it, I thought, hey, I do ice plunges, I do ice baths on a regular basis.
And by the way, is it cryo?
Cryo.
Yeah, cryo is it's where is it like it's pretty much a chamber, right?
It is, yeah.
And then it basically it's way below freezing.
Yeah, it's like negative 100.
Okay.
That's what it is, negative 100.
No problem.
Yeah. But it's basically a big refrigerator. Think of it that way.
Or freezer.
A freezer, big freezer, right? A giant freezer that you go in, and they don't recommend anything more than 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes.
Wow.
Right? And I understand why, because it is intense.
Because you almost died.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if you do it, you have to cover your little extremities, right? You have to cover your hands. You have gloves, booties. You have to cover your ears.
Man,
the first time I did it, I made the mistake of not covering my nose and my mouth.
do they give you stuff?
They have stuff there, but I thought I didn't need it.
Oh my goodness.
So my nose still hurts, and this is 3 days later.
Wow.
And like,
because you really only need it for your body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You don't need it for like your head. Like, like it's like you're looking for it to recover your joint, your muscles and everything.
Yeah.
So my nose still hurts, and this is 3 days later.
Oh my goodness, man.
But now just wear one of those like COVID masks, right? Or like something that just covers.
Yeah.
Because the heat from your breath will keep you warm up here, right?
Or wear a ski mask.
Or a ski mask,
like
something like that. Just cover that face, right?
Yeah.
But that also helps a lot.
So you did it for the first time, and what was an after? Mm-hmm. That was before we did the training, or right after that first time.
Yeah. So I scheduled. So you scheduled some rec games for me to play.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jordan was gracious enough to put me in contact with shout out to Matt, who scheduled some games with two other great players, and we played. So that night,
before our intensive,
I had to do a cryo session, right? To recover and get ready for the intensive, right? So, and then I did the cryo after every intensive so far. So yesterday and today I did the cryo. So
nice, man.
Really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I gotta get an ice bath.
Yeah.
I gotta get one.
It's great. It really is good. It really is good.
All right. So recovery. We talked about that. We talked about drilling, improving your game. Where do you see yourself now, Steve, as we finish the training now?
Mm-hmm.
It's a long 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a blast working with you and like taking a deep dive into your game, your thought process, how we think on a court, like what we're, all the 4 pillars that we talked about.
Yeah.
Where do you, where do you see yourself, just your practice going forward? And, I think it's good to share with your 2024 goals or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so my big thing is really trying to digest and process a lot of. It's like drinking from a fire hose, right? Right now, right? There's so much that we're learning, we're drilling, and I'm excited to process this like on the ride home or the plane ride home, just kind of thinking through this.
Yeah, after you get a full night's rest.
After you get a full night's rest, right? And I'm excited to not only do it myself, but meet up with my drilling partner and to talk about some of these things. Yeah. Because one of the things that I was thinking is that 5-day intensive that, you're going to start in 2024, if all of you out there gets a drilling partner, you should bring them with you. So you really only need 6 teams of pairs of people, right? And bring your drilling partner with you, because that's something that I think would be very beneficial for you guys, for you and your drilling partners to come together.
Well, especially if you're playing tournaments.
Yeah. So I want to digest and really start to do the homework. That term homework, that you're going to send the list and the things that I know I need to really work on with my drilling partner. And also when I go back, drilling, and then really prioritize and continue to prioritize that split, drilling 50%, play 50%. But I actually enjoy drilling more, so maybe 70-30, especially as busy seasons coming up and things like that. I'll probably drill more than play games, so that I can really refine the things that we're talking about. And then tournaments, I really want to. Last year I played in probably, I think, 6 tournaments.
And what level were you playing? What level tournaments were you playing last year?
So I started off at 4-0 men's doubles, and then moved over to 4-5 men's.
Were you playing 40 plus or just 19 plus?
I think one of them, it was 19 plus, but the rest was 35 plus. I think that's like 35 plus is the next one. So 35 plus. And I played a little mixed doubles as well. So 2 of those tournaments were mixed doubles. And I can't stress enough, tournament play is great. It's intimidating. It really is. If you've never played in a tournament, it is intimidating. But I really encourage, if you're really hardcore into pickleball and you really want to get better, I think tournament play is great, because if you continue to play with only the people that you're playing with on a regular basis, you know each other's tendencies, you know each other's shots, you're not exposed to all the different styles of play. And I like tournaments because it's a goal. You know something's coming up. You know you have an event, right?
It's like planning. It's like signing yourself up for a marathon.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're either gonna bail out or you're not gonna. Or you got to do something. You can't just show up to that. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Exactly. So I think one really good motivator, if you really want to get better in 2024, is sign up for a local tournament.
Oh, I like that. Challenge.
Maybe it's not the golden ticket qualifier. Maybe it's not nationals or something like that. Anything.
A cash game. I don't know.
Something where you are going to get a little bit of a pressure, right, when you're there in that situation, because because it's an event that you have to prepare for, right? If there's nothing motivating you to prepare, signing up for a tournament probably will motivate you, whether it's to weight train, whether it's to journal, whether it's to get a drilling partner. And maybe if you're signing up for doubles, drill with your partner, right, that you're signed up with, right? That could be very mutually beneficial. They're going to get better. You're going to get better, right? Tournaments are so good. I still get a little bit nervous going into tournament because you want to do well, right? It's like a proving ground. You kind of feel like it's like, okay, do you belong, right? In whatever level, whatever category it is. But I'm like, at this point, I like that as motivation for me to get better.
I like
right?
That.
Yeah.
So what tournaments, or how many you're going to play some this year, and what are you going to play at 4-5, or what's your plan?
Yeah, I would like. I have not signed up at this moment for any tournaments just yet in 2024. A lot of because in Chicago, it kind of goes radio silent in tournaments for like the next 3-4 months because of the weather, right? And the facilities, like, it's not really. There's not as many indoor facilities that can host tournaments in Chicagoland area, unless it's private and the timing and things like that. But I would like to play at least a couple more in 4-5 level. And then depending on how I do there, really try to continue to shoot to 5-0, right? I want to really continue to progress. So 4-5 is probably the tournaments that I'll enter this year, and see how I do.
Good,
but always looking up. Right, looking up to trying to get better to that next, level. Let's say.
Cool.
So,
yeah. Well, Steve, you'll be Yeah, you'll be reporting to me on those results there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let me know if you need anything.
Yes.
And obviously I'll be checking in with you and stuff like that. So that's good, man. I appreciate you. I do appreciate you coming out to Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the weather's been really nice.
Yeah.
Today we played outside. What is it? December Is it the 30th?
30th, yeah.
30th. Right now?
Yeah, right now, 30th.
And it was like 71. It was so nice outside. It was nice. I'm sorry for those of you that are listening. If you're actually listening to this on Spotify or something like that from Antarctica, I apologize, or Alaska or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's been nice here. But yeah, thanks for coming. I mean, it's been a great 2 days.
Yeah, it was great, Jordan, and like I've been telling you, you have the gift of teaching. And, I've had probably 5 coaches up to this point. They're all great. They all bring a different element. But I think the way you break down what to do on the technical level for me or for any of your students is different, than the other coaches who are great in their own way, right? Yeah. But I really appreciate your gift of teaching, honestly, and I saw it, in the last 2 days. So
yeah, man, I appreciate that. You want to do are you got anything last thing or?
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You wanna do a little spin wheel action?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know. What do we got here?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's see what we land on here.
Okay. Should I go ahead and spin it?
Yeah. This is the Briones Pickleball top spin wheel.
Top spin. Okay.
Okay. Because top spin is very important. All right. So if you're learning top spin right now, or you want to learn top spin, make sure you check out some of our videos. Okay. All right.
Just give it a whirl this
way.
way.
Yeah. Okay. Why not?
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Oh, pickleball vacation. All right. Steve, what's your dream pickleball vacation, man? So those of you wherever you're listening to this, I have some places that I want to visit and stuff like that. But dream pickleball vacation. Who's there, and where are you playing at? A little fun, a little relaxation, a lot of pickleball.
Yeah, I think the first place that comes to mind in terms of location is South Korea. South Korea is a place like Asia and pickleball. I think it's slowly coming, right?
Yeah, you got it. Korea is not. It's got to be small there still, right?
Yeah. Is
there even courts there yet? Like some, right?
There's some, but not like what we have here in the States. Nothing like that. It's more like gym floor or some type of composite where it's like a basketball court / like a multi-purpose floor.
Did you say you went back there and played recently or no?
No. When I was there recently.
You were?
Yeah.
But you didn't play at all?
I didn't play at all, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I left my paddle at home and all my stuff. But but I do know that there are like small gatherings, right?
And that's where you're from, obviously.
Yeah, that's where my family is from.
Cool, man.
But I'd like to see pickleball really emerge and rise in South Korea and play in a tournament or go on vacation and play there. There's a lot of beautiful spots there in the country, and just want to see that popularity of the sport rise and do all the great things we've seen and I've seen, personally, and that pickleball has done for so many people right here in the States. So I want to see it in South Korea and other parts of Asia, Europe, around the world. So South Korea is the place that
all right.
Yeah.
All right, give it another whirl. Well, South Korea, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
Pickleball's coming.
Yeah. Okay, one more?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure. Let's see here. Pickleball what ifs? What do you think here? Well, easy one here, Steve.
Yeah.
Easy one. What if let's do it two ways.
Okay.
What if you didn't discover pickleball? Or what if you discovered pickleball 10 years earlier?
10 years earlier, yeah.
Those are two separate questions. But we'll start with the first one.
Okay.
The more negative one.
What if I didn't discover pickleball?
Yeah.
And if I didn't discover
how would your life be different?
Yeah, I think I'm more on the physical aspect. I probably would be a little heavier right now. I think, I probably wouldn't.
So at that time, you weren't really doing anything like active, you think?
I was.
At that time?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've always been active, but
you weren't. You said, I think you were telling me you weren't really like, you didn't have a goal. You weren't really training for anything.
Right. So, but I think if I didn't have pickleball in my life, I probably would still be active in some capacity, but I would have no motivation to a certain extent to eat maybe healthier or weight train more consistently, things like that, and get those calories through cardio, through games and drill. So, so yeah, I think I would be less healthy. I think that's the term. Yeah, less healthy.
All right.
If I didn't have pickleball. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second one is if I found it 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
Right?
This is the question that this is the one everyone wished they would have discovered it earlier, right?
Yeah. So,
who knows where you would be here?
Yeah, absolutely.
You might not be doing taxes, huh?
I might not be doing taxes, right?
Maybe you would have a pickleball business, huh?
Maybe, yeah. But 10 years ago, if we really dissect this question, right? It wasn't as big, right?
No,
Pickleball, yeah. So having a business would be tough, I think, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I would have been younger,
Uh-huh.
But I think the progression would have been harder for me because I think with a little bit more age comes a little sense of more maturity and kind of dissecting things, versus when I was younger, or when we're younger, we're just a little bit more going, we're going full speed all the time. We're just kind of like, letting things pass us by, not really being more analytical about things. So I'm glad I found it now versus 10 years earlier, honestly.
Okay, I like that answer.
Yeah.
Man. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? On that note, if anyone started when I started that time, it was a lot harder to get better. There's so much more. Well, obviously, our channel.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much more content, and the game has evolved so much. That's one of the reasons why I think I've learned so much, right? Because I had to develop a lot of my thoughts and a lot of how, right? I was one of the first to make videos online.
Yeah.
So I had to really, really think about things at the time. Obviously there's a ton of content out there now, but just the journey from that has just been kind of wild. And I just 10 years ago, it was crazy.
Yeah. Before kids,
Crazy.
right? Yeah.
Well, before kids, and just the sport in general was so small that if you said pickleball down the just walking down the street, probably no one would have known.
Right.
I mean maybe 5% or more. Now we're close to somewhat you've heard of it at least.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Steve. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you again coming from all the way from Chicago to train with me. If those are you, anyone's interested in that, check the links below. And if you're interested in the 5-day super intensive, details will be below. It's not going to be for everybody, but if you're super focused on your game and you want to make a change and a big leap this year, that's definitely something you can do. Yeah. All right. So again, Steve, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Listeners, don't forget to like and subscribe. We really appreciate you. And keep shooting for those goals. And any progress is good. Right. I really like how you write your goals down. You journal. Even if you're not journaling, I would really sit down and think about, what you want to accomplish this year. And I'm actually doing that a lot just with my business and my family and, other things. But if pickleball is important to you, I know you're listening to this because you want to improve. Think about it. write down a couple things. And yeah, I'd love to see you on the court one day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys.